holiday savings throughout the store. Bring your list, and we'll bring out the Santa in you. A Christmas Story.
Wednesday night at 8 on Channel 11.
Here it is, loading hazardous waste and low-level radioactive waste right on this heavy truck route.
We're going to have new vision and new spirit and new enthusiasm out of the ruins and the destruction of such a terrible thing.
This is Channel 11 News at 10 with Marvin Scott and Mary Garofalo.
And good evening, everybody. I'm Tim Malloy. Marvin Scott is off tonight. In Brooklyn, they are calling it an accident waiting to happen.
As we told you last week, low-grade radioactive waste is being stored in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn until New York State can come up with a permanent storage site. The company that handles this facility is called Radioactive, and some of the people who live near the facility have come forward with home videotape they say illustrates their fears.
Here it is, loading hazardous waste and low-level radioactive waste right on this heavy truck traffic route. And you can see there just is, it's a very flimsy safety device that they have. This kind of operation on the same block as a school, a city school, it just is sitting there waiting for some explosion or some fire or some kind of accident to happen.
According to the environmental group, the Radioactive Waste Campaign, if one of these barrels, routinely moved here at street level daily, were to fall off and break open onto the pavement, this area could suffer serious contamination. Radioactive, a company which transports and stores radioactive and chemical waste, is located just a few feet from Public School 84. A residential community of some 25,000 people surround Radioactive. It is community concern that has organized a group of residents aimed at fighting Radioactive called Williamsburg Around the Bridge.
The alarm system in Radioactive is, we feel, quite inadequate. There's a tiny little flashing strobe light, a siren that no one has ever been able to hear yet unless they're standing practically against the side of the building. We're very concerned. How would the school children be alerted? What would they do? Would they have time to even evacuate?
This is an extremely poor neighborhood, probably the poorest assembly district in the entire state of New York. And we have to think, is this some sort of kind of racism that this kind of storage facility gets placed there where these people probably have the least political clout to stand up and say no.
Residents say traffic down this busy intersection is never-ending, and in the time I was there, the majority of the vehicles we saw were transport trucks, in many cases flammable fuel trucks. With the public so angry, politicians are not far behind. Both the councilman and state assemblyman for this district have fired off letters to Governor Cuomo and City Hall.
It's poor planning. It does not belong here. Radioactive, who does a job for the state, should find themselves and place themselves in an area where there are no children and no schools.
They're going to allow this storage facility to get rich on the backs of the neighborhood.
Once again, Radioactive officials declined an on-camera interview today. They did, however, make a statement over the telephone telling me that Radioactive has been operating in this area for 20 years, and in their statement they added that they have been in full compliance with their permit and conformance with government regulations.
It's not a question of whether they're doing it right or wrong. It's a question of, God forbid, something happens.
Now, there has never been any major accident outside the Radioactive facility in Williamsburg that would require evacuation. But residents fear the extent of a disaster if a fire were ever to occur. They say toxic fumes would most certainly be carried just a half-mile across the river into Manhattan. Tim?
Striking drivers with the New York bus service calling it off, getting back on board tomorrow. Members of the Transport Workers Union reached a tentative agreement with their company for a new 3-year contract. 430 drivers and mechanics walked out last Friday over disputes in salary and health benefits. About 13,000 commuters in the Bronx were affected by this strike. They can look forward to resume service in the morning if all goes as planned. Alternate subway service for nearly 1 million commuters is in better shape tonight, but the city system is a tangled mess. Officials say 18 million gallons of water from Saturday's water main break has been drained now in Harlem. Trains on the IND line are being tested. For now, no service on the A, B, C, and lines above 59th Street. The A line is closed from 59th to 207th Street. Service may be partially restored tomorrow.
To Rockefeller Center right now, service may be partially restored by tomorrow. On the night side, it looks like another hostage crisis may be coming to an end. The Philippine government and the rebels have declared a temporary ceasefire in the 5-day-old revolt. And the two sides are evacuating Americans as well as other foreigners trapped in hotels in the financial district. Earlier, the rebels said they would not release Americans because of U.S. support for Philippine President Corazon Aquino. More ahead on this story on USA Tonight at 10:30.
And when we come back tonight, a landmark Long Island church, St. Mark's, has been gutted by fire.
And the end of a New York tradition, the end of a Kodak roll, the final shot. Grand Central Terminal says goodbye to those larger-than-life photos.
iLab is joining the Pearl family. Introducing Pearl iLab Express. Same great people, same great quality eyewear, same fast 1-hour service. And to celebrate, free glasses. Just present the coupon from newspapers and magazines. When you buy one pair of glasses, you'll get a second pair free. Now at Pearl iLab Express. My place? My special place? Florida.
Where the sailfish fly.
Where the natives speak English.
Where the schools are fun.
And you can play in the sun.
Your place? Continental's got it. With the most non-stops from New York to the most Florida cities.
You got your place in the sun. Continental.
Today in Music History, brought to you by Orville Redenbacher's new light microwave popping corn.
I woke up this morning, Luke, he was not as tight. I am a friend of Bonner, and that's what Lucy. Please come back when you belong. I beg her to you, baby. Please don't leave.
Happy birthday, Little Richard. Born today, December 5th, 1932.
Grandpa, you think you could have a party every time you come out with a new product? This is really nice.
You don't have a party like this every night.
This is big. This is really big, this new light microwave popcorn.
With 1/3 fewer calories and 2/3 less fat.
Than our regular microwave. And it pops up more than any other light microwave.
It's going to keep my figure just like it is today.
Well, you're pretty good looking, Grandpa, you know.
That's what Grandma says, too.
Yeah. Not all of us can be as good looking as you, Grandpa.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
The end of an era at City Hall today, the State of the City speech at Koch's last scheduled major address. The mayor reviewed the accomplishments of his 12-year reign, most notably bringing the city back from the brink of bankruptcy in the late 70s. He also cautioned Mayor-elect David Dinkins to learn to say no to special interest groups and show fiscal restraint.
Does not have the resources to become a social welfare state on its own.
And then a typical Koch finale.
And in closing, let me say, not only a fond farewell, but remember pension supplementation.
And the new guard and old guard embraced. An alarming resurgence of the venereal disease syphilis is behind a regulation taking effect tomorrow, requiring that every baby born in New York be routinely tested for the deadly disease. Health officials say cases of congenital syphilis have increased 6-fold in the last 3 years, especially among babies born to poor and uneducated mothers. If untreated, syphilis can lead to blindness, heart disease, insanity, and death.
Out on Long Island, a father and his flock are banding together tonight, vowing to rebuild an historic house of worship that was gutted by a suspicious fire early today. Our Long Island correspondent Drew Scott has this report.
Flames roared out of the roof of the historic St. Mark's Episcopal Church, leaping at times 100 feet into the air. More than 100 volunteer firefighters battled the blaze, the freezing temperatures, and the ice. 5 were hurt, 4 of them suffered frostbite, and police say it appears to have been deliberately set.
The fire started on the south side of the building here, in this area over here. We're in the process now of digging it out, trying to determine the actual cause of the fire.
Destroyed by the intense heat, dozens of priceless original Tiffany stained glass windows, though some were saved. Also rescued from the fire, a Crusades crucifix and altar vestments. St. Mark's Church is a true Long Island landmark. It was built 109 years ago by William K. Vanderbilt, who also constructed the Long Island Railroad. It was built in 1880 for his daughter's wedding, in original Norwegian stave architecture. There are only 3 other buildings like it in the entire U.S.
I was confirmed in this church. I was married in this church.
The fact that this might be arson, how does that make you feel?
I can't believe it.
Other church members, too, stood outside the blackened building in disbelief and in tears. One woman cried because Christmas celebrations are canceled. Another woman wept because her daughter had to postpone her wedding, scheduled here for Saturday.
It's going to be rebuilt, and we're going to have new vision and new spirit and new enthusiasm out of the ruins and the destruction of such a terrible thing.
Nearby churches have loaned books, chairs, even a church organ. Services will be held at St. Mark's Sunday School next door. Rebuilding may get underway as early as next week. But an original piece of Long Island history is gone for good. From Long Island, this is Drew Scott reporting.
Now, back in Manhattan, the 150th anniversary of photography ends this month. Ironically, so too does a photographic tradition that is part of the New York City landscape. I found this fading treasure not in a museum today, but in a loud and crowded place.
No one argues it is one of New York's most exquisite pieces of architecture, but it is a place we pass through, pause to reflect in this lobby, and you end up with a heel mark in your back. Still, since 1949, the harried and hurried have had a huge, brightly colored beacon courtesy of Kodak to warm their walk from terminal to train.
It's beautiful. It makes New York seem brighter, livelier.
600,000 people flow through Grand Central Station every day, each one of them, at least out of the corner of an eye, able to catch a glimpse of the huge photograph. In a hard-driving, head-down, sometimes black and white place, it forces you to look up and perhaps look at life a little bit differently. But this picture, the 565th, says goodbye. It is the last colorama. Grand Central Station is being renovated, and the 18 by 60-foot space is being filled. To some, it is a shame.
It's important to me. I like to see what it says and how it changes. I would be very disappointed if it wasn't here.
You can't miss it. How do you miss it? You know, you come up from the corner, you can't miss it. It's the most attractive thing in the world and really jumps out at you.
Alan Creamer, an urban planner, is happy the photo is going for aesthetic reasons.
I would say it's basically pleasant in its impact, but I'm also aware of the architectural integrity of the terminal.
Art student Julia Graffinios is sketching the building, but she loves the photos.
They see their New York like it's glorified in a picture. And if there's just a plain wall, it's like going to an empty room.
And what photographs they have been. Who will forget the 15 babies? No smiles, no tears, all looking right into the lens. The carved pumpkins, an October 1987 entry. The dramatic Christmas traditional. It drew praise back in the holiday season of 1982. Some of the photographs were for kids. Some of the others were for sports fans. Yes, it was all a big commercial for Kodak, and yet serene and soft sell.
Now, Kodak will build a similar display in Times Square, where it will no doubt be dwarfed by other huge billboards. The lights go down on the Grand Central display December the 30th. Mary?
Well, we'll never get rid of our pictures. Bob will assure us on that.
That's true. You know, we're building our own photographic tradition right here at Channel 11 with our weather pictures.
But can I remind you that you said it was going to snow today, and you've only got a couple of hours for that to come true.
We call these precipitation events, Mary, as you may know, and we still have a few more hours. Not that I think it's going to do much tonight, but we'll see. Anyway, look at this. Speaking of photographic tradition, well, there's a way to build it. Kerry Barber of Brooklyn, New York, sent us this shot. Cottonwood Pass, Colorado, 12,000 feet of elevation. Look at that gorgeous sky and those mountains. Huh? That's hot stuff.
And it's not snowing yet. When we come back, Bob's forecast. Jerry will be here with all the sports. And coming up on USA Tonight at 10:30, an extraordinary case of a woman's right to die and the latest on the safety of Americans trapped in the Philippines. Stay with us.
This is a story about the happiest time of the year. Christmas. The way it used to be.
Shut up, Ralphie!
Remember family traditions?
Stop!
The excitement of Christmas morning. The joy of giving. Darren McGavin, Peter Billingsley. A Christmas Story. Wednesday night at 8 on Channel 11.
6 reasons to give the people on your list a gift from the Totes Auto Club. The trunk organizer. The visor valet. The dash flash. The glove box umbrella. The tire gauge. And the smile. Totes Auto Club. Great gifts from $10.
We were in the pet store. My head said goldfish. My heart said retriever.
You've got the option, the Optima card, for American Express card members.
My father always said that he'd enjoy the snow when the elves came to shovel it. Well, Dad, the elves were here.
You've got the option, the Optima card, for American Express card members.
Wednesday's It's a one-day sale at A&S. Floor-wide, store-wide A&S one-day sale. 60% off 14-karat gold chains, bracelets, earrings. A $10 million collection, 60% off. That means these $250 gold hoops are just $100. This $300 gold herringbone bracelet is just $120. This $500 gold link chain just $200. Here's your A&S charge or the American Express card. Wednesday's It's the one-day sale store-wide at A&S. Terrific.
Welcome back, everyone. Under partly cloudy skies in Midtown Manhattan, the temperature right now at 30 degrees and the humidity 78%. Winds are westerly, fairly gentle at 9 miles an hour. The barometer 29.83 and rising. And indeed, the clouds seem to be scattered to broken right now. Our latest satellite picture indicates that the weather front that is over our part of the country is breaking down. It was sort of a warm front for a while, a little cool front. I'm not sure Mother Nature knows what to do with all the action on the map quite yet, but she's getting her act together, and by the end of the week, it's going to turn much colder, and it may turn snowy. Let me show you why. We've got two very important streams of weather action right now. One basically flowing out of Canada with a reinforcing shot of cold air that will be arriving here tomorrow night and on Thursday, and a southern stream of energy that's beginning to pick up in strength. Eventually, a series of storm systems is going to come across the Gulf states, and one of them may decide to turn up the East Coast. If that were to happen, and the cold air is in place, by late Friday or Saturday, we could be dealing with some significant snow here. But again, remember what happened last weekend. Storm systems came along, and they all just trekked right out to sea very quickly, and didn't really affect us. Got 2 feet of snow up in Maine, but not down here. As for the immediate future, we're going to have a mix of clouds and sunshine tomorrow with a chance of an afternoon shower, especially as that cold front plows into this milder air tomorrow. And then it will start turning colder. There may even be a few flurries here tomorrow night or on Thursday. Temps tonight, not too bad compared to the deep freeze we've had. 27 in town when you get up tomorrow morning, and low to mid-20s out in the suburbs. So here's the deal for tomorrow. A mixture of clouds and sunshine with a chance of an afternoon or evening shower as that cold front moves in. The highs, though, tomorrow about 47 degrees. Cooling down on Thursday to about 39 with a good deal of sunshine. And then Friday, a storm may be brewing along the East Coast. And if it does, it could bring snow here by late Friday or Saturday. We'll keep you posted. Tim?
Thank you, Robert. When the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, peace may guide the planets, but it is definitely not the right time to start a new astrology magazine and take it to press. Jupiter, which calls itself the nation's first top-quality astrological magazine, may also be the first to reschedule a maiden run due to its horoscope. Instead of starting at 9 a.m. last month in Iowa, it went to press at 5:45 in the morning. That is because the magazine's astrology consultant said the stars were all wrong for a later start. There you go.
And you may have thought it was only the burning quest for freedom that vaulted Olympic gold medalist Nadia Comaneci to the West. But the burning desires of love may have also played a hand. Comaneci told reporters in Hollywood, Florida today that it was Constantine Panay who helped her defect from Romania last month. Panay is married with 4 children that has been linked romantically to Comaneci.
couple is keeping mum on that. Nadia Comaneci says she plans to settle in Florida and that gymnastics aren't part of her future, but a movie on her life, maybe. Interesting.
We're going to take that to the bank. Time for a segment we call sports. Jerry, Knicks are back in town.
Right, they came back from the West Coast, so they're happy. For you and I, that would be depressing. But for basketball teams, nothing like home. They won again. We'll be right back.
Another breathtaking moment, sponsored by Sugar-Free Dentine. Frederick March won an Oscar for his portrayal of a homecoming soldier in the best years of our lives. You'll see his heartwarming welcome home kiss after this.
Tell someone you like about new sugar-free Dentine. The sugar-free gum made to make your breath beautiful. So kiss you for it.
Most mouthwashes are the same?
Wrong. Listermint's got fluoride to strengthen teeth. Listermint penetrates vulnerable enamel between teeth and rebuilds it to make teeth stronger. Listermint freshens breath and strengthens teeth.
That's right.
Myrna Loy welcomes Frederick March home from the war in this, the most memorable moment from the best years of our lives.
I told him you can't hide from computers forever. He got burned once.
Already got one big expensive computer system in the storeroom. The only guy that could work it moved to L.A.
What good's a computer if nobody uses it?
I hear he's working on a new system.
He said he won't let his people work on anything he can't use himself.
Maybe this computer is different. Macintosh has the power to change the way you feel about computers. The power to be your best. I'll be.
I caught you.
Are we playing detective?
You said you were giving up super premium ice cream.
I said I was giving up the fat and calories.
And what do you call this?
Steve's Gourmet Light.
1/3 fewer calories and less than half the fat.
And 40% lower in cholesterol, Sherlock Holmes. Now taste.
Tastes just like super premium ice cream. Steve's really did it.
I knew you'd figure it out.
Steve's Gourmet Light. We did it. At the Wallach semi-annual sale, you can save $75 to $95 on a broad selection of famous label suits. Buy one suit, save up to $95. Buy two, save $190. And any normal alterations are no extra charge. Buy 40 suits and save enough to purchase this fabulous organ. Buy 65 and this handsome dinette set could be yours. 73 suits and you could be jetting off to the tropical island of Hawaii.
This portion of the news is brought to you by WPIX. They dress you for business. The rest is up to you.
Before we get into the Knicks and Sixers, a reminder about our three-part series later this week on the mob taking over synchronized swimming. It's an explosive series, and we've got some exposés that you won't believe. Let's take a look as the Knicks beat the Sixers, who were without Charles Barkley. He was bitten by a virus, so he didn't show up. Here is Strickland to Jackson to Wilkins over to Walker, and really terrific passing all night long. Then Walker with the rebound, out to Jackson. Ewing is the trailer. Jackson knows he's there, gives it off to him for the stuff. He got 32, and then terrific passing here. Another fast break. Jackson to Wilkins to Jackson to Strickland. Hey, the crowd was going crazy. Up by 17 at the half. Now the trouble. Ewing a jump shot here. Look at under the basket. Oakley and Mahorn, of all people. Mahorn is wanted in 13 states, unbelievably in fights every night, and wasn't thrown out of the game. Knicks win it 110-103. In Minnesota, less than a minute to go, the Nets trail by 2. Can you get the boost bumps? The boost bumps. All right, Boston wins at Charlotte by 13. Utah 14 over Cleveland, the final. In the fourth quarter, now a final, Chicago over Denver. And it's Portland, a final by 6 at Miami. And in the third quarter, Dallas 65, Golden State 67. In college basketball, the Redmen hanging on good at NC State. It's Malik Sealy with a couple of jumpers early. There's one of them. Singleton takes the pass, soars in for 2. Built up an early lead. And then Redan, who's having an excellent game, 11 points at the last report in the first half, hooks one in for NC State, the favorites. Corciani, after a save here, comes up court. He had 2 3-pointers, including this one. It's the Redmen by 3 with a couple of minutes to go in the first half. Earlier, Seton Hall in a thriller wins it in overtime by 2 over Wake Forest. At the Coliseum, what's happening with the Islanders? Suddenly, playing defensive hockey, they win 3-0 tonight over the Sabres. Flatley, great forechecking over to Lauer, and a terrific shot to the glove side, high. Second period with the score 1-0. Diddick with the puck off the boards. Wood picks it up, comes in, and the goalie doesn't know what he's going to do. Turns out to be a backhander right between their pads, and the final score 3-0. Islanders are on a roll finally. In Philadelphia, Washington by 1 in the third period. Also in the third, Boston and Quebec tied at 3. Iserman, his 17th goal, are now in overtime at Detroit. The Pittsburgh Penguins fired general manager Tony Esposito and coach Gene Ubriaco and replaced him with one man, Craig Patrick, formerly of the Rangers. Patrick had been athletic director at Denver U the past couple of years. Pittsburgh, a much better team than the record indicates. Got to have a change there. There have been lots of long shots in racing, but nothing like the 1,000,000-to-1 tragedy at the Maywood Harness Track near Chicago last night. Now, off the picture, a horse died of a heart attack in the middle of this race, but now at the top of your screen in the same race, a second horse chokes down. That's blood in the lungs, goes right over the railing, dead as doctors got to him. No injuries to the people in the stands, but that is incredible. There have been many, many races where horses have died, but never 2 in one race, and that happened last night at Maywood, just outside of Chicago. Mary?
It's tragic. Time now for a look at tomorrow's news. Tonight, Metro editor Jerry Schmetterer has the assignments for tomorrow from the newsroom. Jerry?
There's an astronaut on the ground in Queens. She's Dr. Ellen Baker. She's the daughter of Queensboro President Claire Schulman. And tomorrow she'll be telling school children about a great adventure on the space shuttle, and we'll be there. We'll also be in New Jersey, where Governor Kane is reopening Highway 78. That's a road shut down by a fire about 3 months ago near Newark. And Mary's going to tell us about Channel J. You ever wonder how this stuff gets on television? She'll let us know. I'm Jerry Schmetterer at the Metro Desk.
Okay, that's it. We'll look forward to that tomorrow.
Thanks.
That's our local report for tonight. The Channel 11 News Hour continues now with Brad Holbrook and USA Tonight.
We'll see you right here again tomorrow night at 10. But until then, here's Brad.
Tonight, a temporary ceasefire in the Philippines, allowing trapped tourists to be evacuated from the battle zone. George Bush and Dan Quayle, do they agree on U.S. foreign policy? And when do you have the right to remove life support from a comatose patient? In focus tonight, a tough decision for the Supreme Court.